Greetings and salutations, everybody, and happy Revolution weekend. It is upon us. One of the biggest events in all of pro wrestling is here, and we are getting geared up. And we want to welcome you to our prediction show, our Revolution prediction show. And we are here in the iconic Cole Control Center. And we're going to run down the entire card for you. And I have an amazing, awesome guest with me here. You can see Mr. B-Roll has joined us with his Hangman shirt, rocking it. We're ready to go. We are ready for Revolution, which is what it's going to be. Probably one of the biggest pay-per-views of all time. It's crazy, man. You keep, these pay-per-views AEW's been putting out, each quarter. It's like you keep thinking, they can't get any bigger. They can't get any bigger. And this pay-per-view, holy shit, this pay-per-view is freaking loaded, man.
Kicking off 2022 with a bang.
Well, and I think too, Tony Khan's original vision was Revolution was to be their biggest pay-per-view and show for the year. So, I mean, boy, he's got it loaded, and we're going to run that entire card down. But what an amazing week it's been. But before we get into that, we got to talk about that Dynamite. And what about the blockbuster announcement, the game-changing announcement Tony Khan made, announcing that he has purchased Ring of Honor Wrestling. Holy shnikes. So, man, I know because you're new to the game and stuff, but for me, I can tell you what excites me about this is so Tony Khan is one of us, really. That's what I love about Tony Khan, is he is a wrestling fan through and through. Thankfully, he's got a lot of money, but, he's able to come through. He's bought Ring of Honor, and I think Ring of Honor is going to be saved, resurgent. I'm really excited to see what he's going to do next with Ring of Honor. So very exciting, Ring of Honor coming in and see what's going to happen there. But we're not talking Ring of Honor. We are talking Revolution. We're on the road to Revolution. So first, let's kick it off. Let's talk about the added matches to the pre-show. And these matches on the pre-show, they aren't just thrown together matches. There is story behind them. So the first one, let's talk Chris Statlander taking on Layla Hirsch. And this is a rivalry that's been building for the past couple of weeks, That first started off as a friendly rivalry with Layla Hirsch and Chris Statlander, and Layla Hirsch being very competitive. She lost a match to Chris Statlander, and then her just pretty much going, full-on bad guy and just saying, kiss my ass, And I guess it's that Napoleon complex, right? Because, Chris Statlander, or Layla Hirsch is, she's 5 foot maybe? I don't know. Yeah. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I'm just saying, kind of has whatever you call it,
Either way, I wouldn't want to meet either of them in a dark alley.
No, they both would kick your butt.
They kick my butt. So. But yeah, I don't know if you even watched, I think it was AEW Dark, where Red Velvet's fighting. And
that's been a part. She's been involved in that feud too, because they were kind of a trio.
Well, even this week,
they wrestled each other, didn't they?
No, they didn't wrestle. Oh. Red Velvet was fighting, and Layla Hirsch just came out and was like, what's up?
The seeds being planted. So, that should be an exciting matchup. Looking forward to it. My prediction, I'm going to say Chris Statlander.
I would agree with that.
Because she is the Galaxy's greatest guardian. Not only are we going to see that match, though.
Hold on.
Oh, wait a minute.
One more thing on that before we move on. Do you think we get a Danhausen curse?
I do.
On legit Layla Hirsch.
Oh, that's a good question. I think you're right. I think or he'll be later on in the show we'll talk about. But yes, I do think you're probably going to get a curse. A curse from the very nice, very evil,
very elite
Danhausen. But that's not the only match on the pre-show, because you couldn't have a pre-show unless you had to send Hook. So that's right. I'm excited for this one. Hook against QT Marshall. Man, Hook has been fun to watch. I mean, the wrestling world, the wrestling community loves him.
You don't even know.
Yes. Let's
don't even know
freaking go. I think it'll be kind of a quick match, obviously.
And I'm not a huge Team Task guy, but
you gotta love Hook, man.
I can appreciate
out with the wild hair,
handsome devil himself.
The handsome devil himself eating a bag of chips. No,
I don't need to spend no time cutting no promos. I just got attitude and I'm gonna kick your butt.
There you go. So there you go. Hook is winning this one. I mean, there's no doubt about it in my mind.
I agree with you. I think it will be quick. I think QT Marshall will try to pull some stuff because that's what
Factory probably be with them. I imagine some members, but they all will fall to the red rum. Hook is winning this one, so should be an excellent pre-show. But man, let's run down the card of Revolution. 9 total matches. Holy guacamole! This is a loaded show. And one of the biggest matches on the show I want to talk about first and foremost. Let's talk about little Jon Moxley going up against Bryan Danielson. Holy shit, this is going to be a good freaking match. It's going to be a war. This is going to be violent. Like, you know, Bryan Danielson talks about violence. Jon Moxley talks about violence. This is just easily.
You could easily see this going the time limit. Easily.
Oh yeah, I could see that. That's a very valid point. And I wonder, what is the time limit? I mean, is it going to be a traditional 20 minutes? I think you got to give him a half hour at least, right? So, and Bryan Danielson, we know he's gone the limit before against Hangman Page and Kenny Omega, and I don't see why Jon Moxley would be any different. But the story to this has been really fun too, with Bryan trying to get him to join up with him, but Jon Moxley hasn't said yes,
but he hasn't said no. So what will be the fallout of this as well?
And this was a match I don't think we really ever truly got to see in their other promotions. You know, I mean, it was on the Indies, and I think they may have done it in WWE, but not at a high level like this. Yes. Picking a winner in this, man, my God, you could flip a coin. I can't. Literally. I'm gonna say, if you put me on the spot, put me in the corner, I'm gonna take Jon Moxley. I mean, Jon Moxley's back from his sabbatical. He's been kicking ass and taking names, not only in AEW, but in other independent promotions as well. I think I'm gonna pick Jon Moxley, but I will say this: I think Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson will join up after this match. And boy, that's going to be devastation.
Yeah, I mean, this is it's a really tough one to pick.
Yeah, but you can only pick one.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping you would pick the American Dragon, so we'd have all of our bases covered.
Well, I tell you one thing I think would be really badass is I'm going to lay a scenario out for you. Bryan Danielson gets the win, but he gets the win based on outside interference. And how amazing would it be if, say, a Lee Moriarty or one of the other younger AEW talents comes out and interferes and helps Bryan Danielson? That could happen. I'm throwing that out there.
But I think Moxley's gonna. I think Moxley will pull it out.
Yeah. So there you go, John. We both think Jon Moxley will pull out and get the W. Onward, moving on the card, another highly anticipated and heated exchange is going to be the one-on-one matchup between La Champion, Chris Jericho, the demo god, as he takes on fan favorite and the beloved Eddie Kingston. And the groundwork has been laid over the past couple months here with the whole Santana and Ortiz. Obviously, there's a history there, especially if you're wrestling fans. They're working together in Impact Wrestling as well as other promotions. Santana and Ortiz with Eddie Kingston, of course, is what I'm talking about. But this should be a fun match. I think Jericho, his creative mind, and with what Eddie Kingston can do, and the promos have been epic and grandiose, as Eddie Kingston can go and spit barbs with anybody. I mean, he's already done it with CM Punk and Jericho now and Moxley and all these other guys.
He's just so I don't know.
He's a champion of the people.
I just know how to describe it. And then he's Eddie Kingston. When he comes out for that meeting with Chris Jericho and the security guards are there, and he's just
whatever, he's like us. He's chilling in his track pants suit or whatever. It's whatever, fuck it. It's cool. But I think this should be a fun match. And the way I look at it is, I feel who is it going to be more beneficiary for? And I think maybe I'm listening to my heart here. I'm picking Eddie Kingston. I think Eddie Kingston's going to find a way to get the W. And Even though they kind of made up on Dynamite, what happens if that was a ploy and Santana or Ortiz are with Eddie Kingston and they cost Jericho the match, and that's the end of the Inner Circle? I hope that's not the case, but I do believe Eddie Kingston's going to get the win. I don't know. I just got a feeling.
I'm going to disagree with you on this one.
So you think you're picking the champion?
I think Chris Jericho's going to pull this one out.
I think that's a good pick. I think that's a foul.
I do agree with you. I think there'll be interference of some kind.
You can count on it.
I mean, I could almost see the whole Inner Circle as a whole getting involved. Maybe not Sammy.
You think Jake Hager?
Jake Hager.
Yeah, Sammy's going to be a little busy, but
yeah, I think if Santana and Ortiz come out, I think Hager comes out too. Maybe
he could. Hell, Hager could just walk out with Jericho. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
So yeah,
I will say I noticed from Dynamite last night that when Sammy was doing his cards, he had his jacket back on.
The Inner Circle jacket. That's a good point.
So
that's a very good point. So.
That was the first time we'd seen him in it since he left it in the ring. So
that's a good point. You
Who
ain't
knows?
wrong. So, well, there you go. That should be a fun match. And we mentioned Sammy Guevara. Let's talk about Sammy Guevara, as he will be in a trios Texas Tornado match, as it's Sammy Guevara teaming up with Darby Allin and Sting,
the
icon Sting, as they will take on Andrade El Idolo, Matt Hardy, and Isaiah Cassidy from the HFO. Yeah. So this match was kind of thrown together. I mean, honestly, I thought going into it they probably would have had the triple threat match that that happened on Rampage. I thought that would have been on this card, but hey, anytime you can get Sting on the pay-per-view wrestling, I'm for it, man. I think this will be a fun little match. I think the ultimate thing that's going to be accomplished from this match, this is my prediction, is I do think Sammy, Sting, and Darby are going to get the W.
I would agree with you there.
But I think what it's ultimately going to accomplish is this is going to be that moment that just sends Matt Hardy over the edge, and he's done with the HFO. And he's like, says, screw it. And I think it's going to lead to what we've all anticipating, a little bit of this. I think you're going to be talking about a Hardy Boys reunion in AEW in the very near future. So.
I would definitely agree. I would say the thing I'm most excited about for then this match would be just seeing Darby and Sammy together. Two of the most
two of the pillars.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. Those guys have really good matchups too. I mean, the match they had a couple of weeks ago on Dynamite was amazing.
Let's just say this. They're not afraid to do anything.
Oh, yeah. Throw Sting into the mix? Yeah. Let's freaking go. So up next, let's talk about the Face of the Revolution ladder match. And you have 6 competitors in there. And I got to say, I was really surprised that you look at this match, typically speaking, a ladder match is usually like a more high flyer kind of type of affair. But you look at this match on paper, and we're talking all powerhouses for the most part. Of course,
largely, yeah.
Of course, the very first qualifier was the limitless one himself, Keith Lee. You've got Wardlow's in this match, Powerhouse Hobbs, Absolute Ricky Starks, Orange Cassidy, and recently just qualified Christian Cage.
It's gonna be crazy.
It's gonna be crazy. You're gonna see a lot of chaos. I'm curious to see how all the I want to see Powerhouse Hobbs square off against Keith Lee.
Yeah.
I want to see Keith Lee square off against Wardlow. And it's interesting, the stories going into this, because you got Keith Lee, kind of his rivalry with Team Taz has kind of been teased.
Yeah.
Wardlow and what's going on with him. Mm-hmm. And my God, the moment on Dynamite with MJF just going ballistic and smacking him and saying, you get to, you can keep your title shot. Because keep in mind, the winner of this match will get a TNT title match.
Yeah, you can almost play a little game with this one. All the people in this match, how many people can Warlord powerbomb?
Yeah, which I don't know if you're going to be able to powerbomb Keith Lee. He's going to have some. I can tell you damn sure you ain't going to be able to powerbomb that man multiple times. It's just going to be once.
The other interesting dynamic I feel like in this one is how is Team Taz because they have two in it.
They have two in it. How are they going to work together?
Yeah,
it's a very interesting concept. So.
Unfortunately, I think they'll be in it for. I mean, they're going to have a realistic shot with them being two of them being in there. I feel like I don't think they'll win, but either of them. But I think they have a realistic shot.
Of course, we have to talk about the devastation that one Orange Cassidy brings to this match. Right?
No kidding, right?
Those kicks. Oh my God! If he hits those kicks on Keith Lee, I love Keith Lee, but I don't know. But no, in all seriousness. This should be a fun matchup. This is going to be like a car crash, like every ladder match. Well, we have to.
We have to. Wouldn't be a prediction show if we didn't.
I'm going to go with my man, my guy. I got to just say, I guess it's got to be Keith Lee. I'm taking Keith Lee.
You're on Keith Lee.
I'm going Keith Lee.
I thought maybe you'd go Christian Cage. Not going to lie.
It's a possibility. I ain't going to rule it out.
I'm not going Christian Cage. I think... Personally, what I want to happen is I think I would like to see Warlord get a shot.
I think that's the second. Honestly, if you put me, that's who I was going back and forth. I'd say it's between Keith Lee and Wardlow.
Yeah.
Because Wardlow presents something very interesting because of this whole stuff going on with him and MJF and the Pinnacle. So I wouldn't be shocked if Wardlow won. And God, if you put Wardlow against anybody for the TNT title, he's going to beat the hell out of him. I'm sorry, but it is what it is. So you're picking Wardlow.
I'm listening to my heart.
That's what I did, so you got to listen to your heart. So
my second choice would probably be Keith Lee, but we're not talking about second choices.
You're talking first, because remember, if you ain't first, you're only last, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, now let's talk about, we've got 4 championship matches on the Revolution card.
Boy.
So let's talk about one I know you're extremely excited for, the TBS Championship. As your defending champion, Jade Cargill, will take on Ty Conti.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you've went on record, you've said Ty Conti you think is going to be the one that ends Jade Cargill's streak.
I do believe, and let's just say this for a fact real quick. Yep. Ty Conti has had title shots in back-to-back pay-per-views.
That's interesting. And this is going to be the first time ever on pay-per-view the TBS title has been defended.
So I'm once again, I'm listening to my heart. Ty Conti. I think she has the skill set that Jade hasn't seen quite yet. Like we saw when Bunny challenged Jade.
Bunny gave a hell of a match there.
And I think Ty Conti's more experienced and has that jiu-jitsu background. I'm not going to be shocked.
I respect Ty Conti, but I don't think she has a chance in hell.
Think she's going to get Jade?
I don't think it's going to be a quick match by any means, but I think Jade Cargill is going to win, ultimately.
Let me say this. If I was a betting man...
You'd say Jade.
I would say Jade.
But you're listening to your heart.
I'm listening to my heart.
It's important to listen to the heart. So, there you go. And boy, you talk about championship defenses and championship matches. Boy, these champions are going to be going to have a tough challenge ahead. As we talking about the 3-way tag team championship matches, Jurassic Express will defend their AEW tag titles against Red Dragon and the Young Bucks. Now, this should be a very interesting one in a sense to see, are the Young Bucks and Red Dragon, are they going to work together to take down the champs? I think you're going to get teased bits and parts of it, but I ultimately think that will be their downfall, actually, is just because they want to be the champions. I mean, who wouldn't want to be champions, right?
I think
it's the most coveted tag team championship in professional wrestling.
Yeah, let me put it this way. They would be naive not to work together to try to take out the likes of a Luchasaurus.
Yeah, you got to take out the dinosaur, right?
Yeah.
I mean, take out the dinosaur first, and then you go after Jungle Boy, right? So, this should be a fun freaking matchup. I loved watching Red Dragon and Young Bucks matches back in the day. I mean, they still got it. It's still awesome. It's a tough one to call, but ultimately I think because of I think Red Dragon and Young Bucks will kind of cost themselves the match. I'm going to go with Jurassic Express retaining.
Yeah.
It's a tough challenge, but I just think Jurassic Express is going to pull it out.
I will. Yeah, I'll second that. I'll go with Jurassic Express, simply because of I feel like this whole little feud thing it's gonna somehow cause a distraction, and it's going to cost them.
Yep.
It's going to allow that window to where I feel like Jurassic Express is going to be on the ropes, so to say, and I feel like this little feud thing is going to get in the way.
I think you're right. And then we got to talk about the last 3 matches on this card are pretty much, I think you look at it as a triple main event. I could see any one of these 3 matches main eventing the show. And first, we got to talk about probably what is going to be arguably probably the most violent match on this card. We're talking the dog collar match between MJF and CM Punk. Holy shit. What a feud this has been. I mean, the build up to this match has been one of the best maybe in all of AEW outside of course, Hangman to Kenny.
You would say this, on this card, this one probably has the best build up, best story.
Absolutely.
Out of all of them.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, this isn't just like this isn't just one of the best build-ups on the pay-per-view. This is one of the best stories I think that AEW's told so far.
Yeah.
And that's saying something because they've done a lot.
Yeah.
And definitely, this is CM Punk's best story that's been told since he's been back. I mean, just the whole, skipping the handshake from MJF and MJF being the low-life piece of shit that he is, and just going through everything as far as just torturing CM Punk on the mic. I mean, and CM Punk, I mean, of course, is a mic master, but good Lord. MJF, the promos he's cut on him, my God.
And beyond the promos, the punishment of CM Punk had to take just to get a match.
Oh, yeah, what they all had to go through. And then when he finally got that match in Chicago, what happens is MJF wins. MJF beat him. And that's you think MJF that's it.
Wins.
This is true. But, this is when the story really got good as far as my opinion. Of course, we're talking a couple weeks ago. When the past 3 weeks of Dynamite for the build-up to this match has been insane, awesome. Yeah. Key components and elements of this story.
True story, yeah.
Where it starts off with CM Punk in the ring, cutting that promo about what match it's going to be, and the whole Valentine's Day, would you be my Valentine for the dog collar match? And then MJF coming out and he doesn't have anything to say. And then the next week he comes out and just that insanely heartfelt
bears
promo.
His soul.
Oh my God, yeah. Yeah, and I mean, that was as real gets.
Yeah.
And then just what they did on this last Dynamite here with Punk coming out, telling Maxwell, hey, you don't need to go down the road I went down, and them hugging, and it's it's a nice moment. And then, of course, just the swerve, which you knew was coming.
Yeah.
I mean, this is MJF, the salt of the earth, more like scum of the earth. With the low blow and just the brutalization of Punk. And I think it just shows you how violent this match is going to be. It's going to be a bloodbath. There ain't no doubt about that. There's going to be buckets of blood spilt on that canvas. Man, I don't know what else you could say about this match. This match is going to be...
hide your kids, hide your wives, strap in for this one.
Yeah.
It's gonna. You're about to see weeks of.
If it doesn't steal the show, I can definitely tell you it's going to be the most violent match of the night. Yeah. So, ultimately, I'm going to take CM Punk. I think Punk's got to get his win back here. I think Yeah,
you got to go CM Punk
But yeah, that dog collar match is going to be off the chain. And then, in my opinion, as great as this card is, this next match for me is the one I'm anticipating the most. And that is your AEW Women's Title Match between Dr. Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa. Holy shit. You talk about storytelling again. This is a story that's been going on for over a year. Yeah. They have not touched since that Lights Out match. And that Lights Out match is really what paved the way for Britt Baker. You know, I mean, you can't deny what Britt Baker has done the past year, dethroning Hikaru Shida, winning the Women's Championship, and just dominating that division. But hey, who has she not faced? Thunder by herself. And since that Lights Out match is Thunder Rosa. Mm-hmm. So here we go, pretty much a year after the fact. I said this on our podcast for Golden Headlock Awards. I said I didn't know when or where, but I said Thunder Rosa was going to be your next women's champion. My heart is telling me that, but in traditional wrestling speak, when you are doing the go-home show before like the pay-per-view, usually 9 times out of 10, whoever has that momentum or whatever ends up losing. And if you look at it on Dynamite, Thunder Rosa won that tag match. So, I don't know. But I think it's going to be a hell of a match. I'm still going to listen to my heart, and I'm saying Thunder Rosa is going to be the one that dethrones Britt Baker for the Women's Championship. Let me say this. I said originally, I didn't know where, I didn't know when, but your next Women's Champion is going to be Thunder Rosa. And come win or loss, hell or high water, off Revolution, I still believe in that. I still think Thunder Rosa will be the Women's Champion before the end of the year. I hope it's at Revolution, nothing against Britt Baker, but I'm ready. I am ready for Thunder Rosa to get that win.
You know, I want to listen to my heart on this one, but I think this match will probably have the most interference out of all the matches.
Yeah. I would love it if they banned Rebel and Jamie Hayter, but that's probably not going to happen.
Well, I mean, if they're going to be out there, and then Mercedes Martinez, what's she going to do? Is she going to come out and aid Thunder Rosa if crap goes down?
Or will she turn on Thunder Rosa?
Will she turn back?
Who knows? Should be an exciting women's championship
match.
I'm
having a tough time with this one.
But you can only pick one.
I can only pick one. I think the champ retains.
Sticking Dr. Britt Baker. It's a good pick. I can't argue, man.
I'll say this: I want Thunder Rosa to win, but
one thing's for sure: it's going to be a hell of a match and could easily steal the show. But let's talk about what will probably likely be your main event: the AEW World Championship match. As your champion, Hangman Adam Page will defend against my cousin. Not really, but Adam Cole, baby. This is going to be a fun match.
It is.
Battle of the Atoms. And I was talking to B-Roll about this before we got started here, and I felt like they didn't give them an adequate amount of time to build up this story. And in reality, they did, but I really felt like the last Dynamite kind of was like the cherry on top, if you will.
Yeah, it's at the icing on the cake, cherry on top, however you want to say it. I mean, I feel like even though it wasn't out there, I feel like you knew it. Realistically, you knew Adam Cole was your next title shot.
Oh yeah, you had to, and all that storyline kind of going on with the Elite and stuff. Yeah. Well, who's actually part of the Elite,
Yeah, and we have, I know me and you, we've talked about speculation of, what's going to happen in the future. Who knows what's going to happen when Omega comes back. Mm-hmm. But sticking to Revolution, I mean, I'm going to say Champ's going to retain. He'll hit that buckshot.
I think what you're going to see ultimately happen, kind of go back to the that 3-way tag match. I think there's going to be some tomfoolery, and I think what's going to happen, you're going to see them accidentally cast Adam Cole. Not that Hangman's going to have the match won, and they'll come out interview, I think, and then they'll end up accidentally costing Adam Cole the match. I do think Hangman Page retains here. I mean, I think he's still got a long run ahead of him. Mm-hmm. This should be a fun matchup, though. And one thing about the history about these guys is both these guys were in Bullet Club. And they both were in Ring of Honor. Matter of fact, if memory serves me correctly, they were kind of like Hangman Adam Page was kind of a protege almost to Adam Cole. So should be an interesting matchup. Should be a hell of a matchup. But I think Hangman Page wins it.
I wouldn't be surprised if we're sitting at this at the end of it saying that's going to be up there for Fight of the Year.
Very well could be. I mean, it's going to be a hell of a pay-per-view.
I mean, we said that about the Bryan Danielson Hangman fights.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
you weren't wrong. You know, and if you look back at these pay-per-views, they usually end pretty epic, pretty iconic. And I'm going to go with an extremely bold prediction here. One thing in pro wrestling that we have always coveted for years is we've always dreamed about these dream matchups. And we always dreamed about interpromotional stuff. So what if, I'm throwing a big what if out there, right? What if Hangman Page is he's holding up that AEW title high and celebrating or whatever. And then what if right all around the ring is the Ring of Honor roster, and Ring of Honor wages war with AEW. Holy shit.
He's calling his shot.
I'm calling my shot, dude. If that happens, I'm marking the fuck out. Goosebumps.
I got goosebumps. I got goosebumps.
Like if you've got the Briscoe brothers and Jay Lethal and you know, PCO and all these other Ring of Honor guys are there. There's never really been a good true invasion storyline.
Man.
Boy, that would be pretty epic. So I'm just throwing that out there. It's probably not going to happen, but boy, if it did. And I want to say one more thing, too.
You need to go out there with Tony Khan is what needs to happen.
Hire me, bro. Bring me down. I can book for it. No. Parallels. You talk about unique parallels, uncanny parallels. Now, you may have heard this comment and not quite understood the point of it. You remember when Tony Khan was making that announcement? He says, Shane's not here. Shane's not here. So if you go back in the annals of professional wrestling history, WWF at the time, they bought WCW, okay? And when they bought them, they literally happened the week of their biggest WrestleMania of all time, WrestleMania 17. How crazy is that? Not that's related anything to this storyline that I'm presenting, but still, how crazy is that? Tony Khan makes this major announcement on the cusp of one of the biggest pay-per-views in what may be of AEW's history. It's pretty wild. But boy, oh boy, if that show goes off the air and you've got a Ring of Honor crew that just decimates the AEW roster, holy shit. But
yeah.
Just throwing it out there. Regardless, it's going to be a hell of a pay-per-view. It's going to be a hell of a night, and we hope you all are tuning in and enjoying the show because it's going to be freaking awesome.
It's going to be.
I can't wait.
There's no other way to sugarcoat it.
This has been an exciting week, but also a rough week in the sense of sleepless nights because I can't wait to get to Sunday night and Revolution. Well, that about wraps it up for our prediction show. So we hope you enjoy AEW Revolution, as it is going to be a massive pay-per-view, and it's a cannot miss show. So I'm Jeremy, aka XLJDLG.
And I'm B-Roll.
We'll see you at Revolution.